So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your sales conversations and ultimately close more business? The Sales Maven Society offers you daily support for your urgent sales questions, an extensive library of bite-sized trainings to hone your selling skills, and monthly live coaching calls where you receive individualized coaching from me specific to your business so that you're able to remove any bottlenecks in your sales process. This is the most robust sales coaching program around for an incredible value of only $147 a month. And you can join now for your first month for only $47. You get access to absolutely everything, including the live coaching calls with me. Come check it out and see if this is the place for you to really elevate your business to the next level. You can do this by going to yoursalesmaven.com/society, hit the join now button. And then when it takes you to that page, enter this code, the number 4, the number 7, and the word trial, TRIAL. So 47 trial, all one word, and you'll be a member. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, here's the podcast.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. I'm here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master your sales conversations. Today, we're going to talk about pricing to sell. Now, this may be a refresher for some, and this may be new for you listening. And the intent behind offering this is to try to put as much as I can in a short little episode of ways to challenge you to think about your pricing. Okay. Now, I was inspired to do this episode based on a post that I put on social media a couple weeks back around a well-known online retailer that put out their holiday catalog, if you will. Think about those of you who are my age. You might remember the J.C. Penney's catalog that we used to get like at Christmas time. And I remember as a kid, we used to go and like circle all the things that we wanted. In my household, that was like big dreams, not a lot of coming to fruition, but that was something. So this new catalog that came out, there was a lot of grumblings on social media because the online retailer, well known, probably everybody knows its name, made you scan to get the pricing of the products that they were promoting in their catalog. And people were annoyed by that. And rightfully so. Now, from an online retailer standpoint, totally makes sense that you want people scanning. It's a way for you to track their data. So good for them, annoying to the customer. And when you are not listing your pricing, when you're not being upfront about your pricing, you are likely annoying your prospective clients as well. And frankly, I think it's bad business. And I will say this is one of those things that a lot of sales coaches and I have a different opinion on this topic. I feel really strongly about this. And I know that I get pushback from my clients, and not all of them want to take this advice. You can take this with a grain of salt, or you can stop this episode right now, whichever you prefer. But I hope that you'll listen to the end, and I hope that you'll listen with an open mind, because my intent behind continuing to shout this from the rooftops is not for my benefit, because I list the pricing on my stuff. It's for your client or prospective client's benefit. It's so that you can make the kind of impact in the world that you want to make. And one of the ways for you to make that impact is for you to work with your ideal clients. And if your ideal clients are not hiring you because you're making them jump through hoops to understand pricing, then how are you going to make the impact you want to make? It actually breaks my heart sometimes for people that I think have a very short-sighted view. Now, the consensus from many sales coaches is don't put pricing on your website, get people on a sales call. That way you can establish your value. And I think that advice is, I honestly think it's cheap. I'm really going out on a limb here today. I'm feeling particularly sassy, I guess. And here's why I think it's cheap. Because it's super satisfying for the person who's paying you money for you to tell them they don't need to list pricing on their website. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I love that they're telling me I don't have to do this and giving me permission. And the reason I think it's cheap is because they're costing you business. And I think that is the wrong approach in sales. I think you should be earning business. And that does involve listing your pricing. Now, I'm not just talking about your website, okay? I'm going to be talking about this and applying it to a lot of different areas of the selling conversations that are happening. So here is what I want to talk about next. So do I think you should list pricing on your website? Yes. If there's a part of you that's saying, I can't list pricing on my website because I'm doing custom proposals. Okay, well, you could put a range, and you've probably heard me say this before. Now, when people hear me say you can put a range, here's where they think like, oh, I'm going to get really clever. I'm going to beat Nikki at her own game. I'm not going to put a range. I'm going to put a starting price, starting at. All right, here's why that's a bad idea. Is because now you just anchored a low price. So when that person gets on a call with you or that person decides to hire you, and in actuality, in order for them to get the solution that they need, you ask them to pay double what your starting price is. Now it feels like you're gouging them. So if you're willing to put a range, and I honestly don't care what the range is, be realistic, but you can say pricing can range anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000. And you then give them a price that's $75,000. Well, now they're like, whew, at least I didn't go up to the $100,000. So, okay, this is going to solve my problem. I like this person's solution. And I'm going to go with them. But if you only say starting at $10,000 and you give them a proposal for $75,000, how do you think they're going to respond? What do you think is going to go on in their mind? How would you respond if you saw that on somebody's website and then they sent you a price for $75,000? Would you feel a little bent out of shape? Would you feel a little bait and switch going on? Now, I'm not implying this is bait and switch. I'm just talking about how is the client or prospect going to respond? And as a sales coach, I really feel strongly that my job is always to coach and give strategy and advice on how things are going to land to the prospect, because I'm most interested in you earning their business. I'm not interested in making you feel good about something that feels uncomfortable. I'm interested in helping you get that deal. Okay. So starting at pricing, you're not being clever. You're still kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. So knock it off. You don't need to do that. Stand in your place of credibility, stand in your place of authority, be proud of your pricing. Now, I know I've done episodes about this too, that the other thing that happens when the pricing conversation comes up is people try to like end the call if they're having a live conversation, or they back out by saying, well, I'm going to send you a proposal just because they don't want to give pricing. But if somebody's straight up asking you, where are we looking as far as pricing goes, you should be able to give some kind of a range. Okay. Now, you might need to have some time to do a scope of work and send over a proposal with pricing on it. I get it. You know, just recently, I had an opportunity to put some pricing in front of another very well-known company that is talking to me about doing some work for them. And the one thing when I ask them, well, what's your budget for this? And they go, well, we don't really have this, budgeted. We're not really sure, the typical things that people always push back. So I'm not about to like go down this road and jump through a bunch of hoops for this big known company to earn their business if we're not even in the same ballpark. So I threw out some numbers and said, so I just said to them when I said, what's your budget for this? And they hemmed and hawed and act like they didn't have a budget for it. So I threw out some numbers and said, I can tell you right now that the pricing I'm going to come back with is going to range somewhere between 100,000 and 250,000. Now, given that, where do you fall in that range? And they said, we're not sure. And I said, okay, are we within range? Because if you're going to come back to me right now and say, we're not spending $100,000 on this, then it doesn't make sense for us to continue the conversation. And I can tell you, it's not going to be 100,000. It's definitely going to be more, but I need some time to do some scope of work. Okay. So they said, no, that's still within what we were expecting. So let's continue down this conversation. So then I took a couple days, put together some pricing, sent it over, asked again, is this, how does this pricing land for you? Is this within range? And they said, yes. So then we take the next step in the process to possibly doing business together. So if I pretend like I don't know what pricing to come up with, and if I don't give pricing to that prospective client, it is a waste of their time and frankly, a waste of mine. And I'm not interested in wasting my time. And I'm not interested in wasting your time either. So be willing to stand in your place of credibility and authority and come up with some pricing. And it's okay to put it in front of people. Are you a determined and ambitious woman entrepreneur seeking to elevate your selling skills? Then I have a training for you. It's called How Any Woman Can Confidently Close Any Deal in a One-on-One Sales Call in Any Business or Industry. In this training, you'll be shown 3 techniques that you can immediately apply to your consultation calls and improve your close rate. This is a live training with me, and there's going to be an opportunity to ask questions. So come get yourself registered right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/close. Easy, right? Okay, I'm going to see you there. And again, I in the initial conversation did not give them a straight up price because I did need some time to figure it out. And there will be opportunities and that come your way where you do need some time to figure out what kind of pricing to go in at and how to position it. All right. Now, the other thing that comes up, and I just wanted to comment on this, is having a conversation, a live conversation with somebody in a pretty traditional like discovery/consultation call. Now, when I am going through the 5 steps of the selling staircase, this is my signature framework for a sales conversation. So step 1, introduction. Step 2, create curiosity. Step 3 is discovery. The discovery process is where my job is to establish, do they have a want and a need or a desire? And do I have a solution based on asking the right questions that will meet that want, solve that problem, deliver on that desire, right? And then that's step 4 is the proposal. So once I do the discovery, I move them to step 4, which is the proposal. Then I move them to step 5, which is the close. Now, in that live consultation call, I also want to talk about how I typically do this. If I'm going through the set list of questions, I've asked them about budget or what they're looking to invest, if that's relevant to the conversation, which 90% of the time it is, then once I go to recommend a solution for them, I'm not actually giving pricing yet. So I go through my discovery questions. I have a sense of what the right solution for them is. I invite them to move to step 4. in the proposal, I would say, based on what you shared, I do see a way that we could work together. Are you interested in hearing a little bit more about what that might look like? Get the yes. Then I stand in my place of credibility and I recommend a solution for them. And when I'm recommending the solution, I don't often tell them the price yet in this particular case. I would say, the solution that I would recommend would be a VIP program. Here's what's included in the VIP program. Here's the outcomes that we're going to hit for you based on the criteria that I've asked them about in their discovery questions. And then I say, is that something you'd like to move forward with? And then typically they'll say yes or no, or what's the price, right? So when they ask about price, then I immediately say the price. Now, if that's the first conversation, or if that's the first question in a consult call, if somebody gets on a call with me and they say, Nikki, what's it cost to work with you? I'm going to answer that question. I never avoid the price question. And I don't want you to either, because it creates doubt in the mind of the buyer when you try to hide your pricing. When you make them jump through hoops to get it, you slow down the process for them to make a decision. And oftentimes they won't decide to hire you. And now you've wasted your time with them and you've missed the opportunity. So be willing to give price when they ask in the discovery call. Now, if you want to give the price when you say, the solution that I recommend is this VIP program. Here's all the feeds and speeds. Here's how it's going to meet your needs. The price for that is, give the price and then issue the invitation. Because as soon as pricing comes up, I am going to invite people to next steps. So if they say, what's the price? And I say, that program is $10,000. And then I'm going to issue the invitation. That's the close. That's step 5 in the selling staircase. So I'm going to say, is that something you're ready to move forward with? Or should we get that scheduled for you? Now, I just had one of these calls earlier today. The person knew the pricing already because we had a previous conversation around it. And as we're bringing the call to a close, and this person isn't saying necessarily, yes, I'm ready, but we're talking about it. So I said, great, let's get your first session scheduled. Are you ready to do that? And the person said, well, I've got to figure out some scheduling. And once I figure out my scheduling, then we can get it scheduled. Great. Then I send the link and say, did you want me to walk you through signing up for the program? So I send it over Zoom because we're on Zoom. So I put it in the chat. Here's the link. You want me to walk you through the program? They said, nope, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to get the schedule to you next week. Great. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. Your job is to make it easy though. Keep that process moving. Make it easy for them to hire you. And oftentimes they need to know the price in order to do that. Now, I have on a few occasions had clients say yes to me for VIP programs. And then I say, great, the first step is I can take your credit card now for that. And they give me their credit card and I say, okay, I'm going to run this. And then they go, oh, and how much is it? That's like optimal, but it doesn't happen often. Usually they want to know the price before they're giving up their credit card. So talk about your price. Put it in your emails. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. I find a lot of times in promotional emails, people will send out like, I've got this new program. This is all the things it's for. This is how you're going to benefit from it. And then click the link to find out more. And then they don't put pricing in it. What are the chances that somebody is going to click the link if there's no price? I can tell you right now, you are lessening the chance of getting a real buyer to click the link if you don't put pricing in your promotional emails as well. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't quite figured it out in my 10 years of business of why people are so afraid about their own pricing. I'm sure I'll do an episode about it when I figure it out. But I want to encourage you to not be afraid of talking about your price. And instead of being worried about the price, I get it if you're like, I don't know exactly what's the language to close the deal. Like, I can help you with that. But being afraid to reveal your pricing, it creates doubt in the mind of the buyer. And that is not something you want to do. All right, I'm backing up off my soapbox now. I feel super passionate about this. Go put your pricing out there. Don't be afraid of it. Now, here's one piece of pushback that I think is, again, I just want to comment on it because if this is an objection for you, there might be some mindset stuff that needs to happen. If you're worried about putting your pricing on your website because your competitors are going to see it, that is such a short-sighted view of business because you're not in business to try to hide things from your competitors. You're in business to earn business from your ideal clients. So your business, in my not so humble opinion, should be set up and easy for the ideal clients. If it makes it easy for your competitors to see your price, so be it. Who cares? Like, if they're so worried about you and your pricing, congratulations. That is a benchmark that you should aspire to hit, frankly. All right. I wish you continued success in all you're doing. If you need some help figuring out your pricing, if you need some help how to deliver that pricing in those conversations or that consultation, I would be honored to work with you and support you through this. There's a couple ways for us to do that. You can sign up to work with me through the Sales Maven Society. That's the group coaching program. You can sign up for one of the private coaching sessions and we can work one-on-one through this. And there is a link in the show notes on a Work with Nikki discussion. So click that link. Let's get on a call. Let's see what the right solution for you is. And we'll get it figured out. In the meantime, I'm wishing you continued success. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.